So this is a story for remembrance that I wrote a few years ago, and it's in the style of godly play. There was once a great war. Even though there have been wars before and wars since, this is still called the Great War. It started because both sides thought they could win, and win quickly. It would be over by Christmas. And each side thought that God was fighting for them. Now, you can't get the whole of a great war here. So this is just a part of the war. It's part of the Western Front. Here is the great ancient city of Ypres. And here is Langemarke and Passchendaele. There were many more villages and towns and farms and houses, but these will help us to remember. The people of Ypres didn't even want to go to war, but the war came to them. The land was green and fertile. It gave food for them and for their animals. But then the soldiers came. And great shells changed the landscape. They broke down the banks of the river. They destroyed the trees, the branches and their leaves. The land was flat, and there were not many places to hide. And so the soldiers dug trenches to protect themselves from the bullets. Each side tunneled towards the other. At times they were so close they could even hear one another. But even that didn't stop the fighting. In the summer of 1917, it began to rain. The rain fell down from the skies, and the water rose up from the ground. The puddles became rivers and flooded the trenches and the shell craters. The land that had once fed people and animals became a muddy swamp. It was a terrible time. Many people and animals died. But at last, the guns fell silent and the war was over. The soldiers could return to to their homes. And the people could return to their homes too and rebuild their city and houses and farms. But nothing was the same as before the Great War. Great monuments were put up to honour those who had died in the fighting. And the bodies of the dead of both armies were buried in cemeteries that stretched for miles. Those who went home, soldiers, had touched and smelt and tasted and heard and seen so much that they didn't have the words for it. Many of them never spoke of the war. Perhaps that's why we remember this war by keeping 2 minutes of silence. After the war, the fields where once the bodies of the soldiers had lain were covered with poppies. It felt like a new beginning. And so people today wear poppies at this time to help them to remember this war and to pray for those who suffer in war and for an end to all war.